Welcome everybody. So great to be here for the 2025 updates and announcements related to Burlington Electric's incentives and rebates and new programs. We do this announcement every year, and every year we keep rolling out more and more great initiatives to help our community members use less fossil fuel, switch to electric in all different sectors, including transportation, heating, lawn care, and others. And so grateful to be here with the mayor, with Kurt from Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund, Sarah from Old Spokes Home. We're going to hear from all of them in a few moments. Great to be here with the BED team, many of whom work on these different programs. And it has become so comprehensive that the number of different incentives that we have, that I actually have some notes with me, which I tend not to do because we have so much going on in this space. Couple things I just wanted to mention up front. We're approaching almost 1,000 EV rebates lifetime since we started that program back in 2017. And we're increasingly seeing more of our income qualified, low income customers being able to access the EV rebates. And just about 23% of those rebates now are going to income qualified customers where we have enhanced rebates. We have over 2,500 heat pumps installed in Burlington, and a little over 13% of those are going to our low-income customers. And we continue to focus, and it'll be a theme of these different updates, on having increased incentives for our low-income customers to make it as affordable as possible for the entire community to access these technologies. Also, the other two really popular programs where we're approaching, we have over 700 and almost 800 rebates are our lawnmower program, electric lawnmowers, and our e-bike program. And so we're going to talk about both of those today as well. So I'm going to run through just some of the highlights of some of our changes in our programs. For our pre-owned EVs, which increasingly we have a good market for affordable pre-owned EVs, for our low-income customers, we used to have a $1,500 rebate. We're increasing that in 2025 to a $2,000 rebate to continue to support that program. We are conscious that there are challenges with both state funding for EV rebates as well as potential headwinds at the federal level. So we want to do everything we can in Burlington to continue to make it affordable for customers to switch to an EV, in this case a pre-owned EV. We're also changing our EV and plug-in hybrid program requirements. Used to be we offered up to 2 rebates per household lifetime, but our program's been running for 8 years now, and we're increasing that to 4 because we know that in some cases those vehicles may have reached the end of the life or been traded, and we want to continue to support our customers in purchasing EVs. So we're moving from 2 to 4 lifetime for that. With chargers, we have a couple updates to our charger programs. For workplace chargers that are in Justice 40 locations in the city, we're increasing our rebate from $3,250 up to $4,000 for workplace chargers. We also have rebates that support charging at multifamily locations that are affordable housing or have a certain percentage of residents who are at income eligible levels. We're increasing those charger incentives from $1,750 to $2,000. Heat pumps, we continue to offer in some cases up to 75% of the rebates for the cost of a heat pump. For our low-income customers, we're going to increase rebates from $3,350 to $3,450 for heat pumps that are 2 tons or greater. We're also going to have, for our centrally ducted heat pumps, which includes a range of different rebates, for low-income customers, we're increasing all of those incentives by $100 each. We have a new program for our business and commercial customers, what's called rooftop units, which tend to be natural gas fueled. We now have a hybrid heat pump LED system with gas backup, and we have a range of incentives there, brand new, starting at $3,350 and going all the way up to $15,450, depending on the size of the unit, how much fossil fuel it's displacing. And we have a new incentive change with the heat pumps as well. We had previously limited customers to 1 rebate, and then the second rebate was $500. Now customers are eligible for 2 rebates at the full amount, because we know a lot of customers put in a heat pump and they like it and they want to put in another one, and we want to support them with that. For our heat pump water heaters, we're increasing rebates for low-income customers from $1,600 to $1,800. Very exciting, and part of the reason why we wanted to have Old Spokes Home here with us today. For e-bikes, we had been offering a $300 rebate, and we have a couple e-bikes and conventional bikes as well here today, but we got like e-bikes with cargo, all different types of e-bikes. we are increasing our rebate from $300 to $600 for all customers. And new this year, we're offering an enhanced rebate for our low-income customers up to $850 or up to 50% of the cost of an e-bike. So if somebody's purchasing an e-bike that's in the $1,700, $1,800 range, they're going to be getting $850, about 50% off, which is a brand new program we're hopeful will increase access to e-bikes for customers around the city. Also, our electric lawnmowers, I mentioned, one of our popular programs. New this year, we're going to have an enhanced rebate for low-income customers for residential electric mowers, and that's going to be $150, which is double the incentive that we're offering for all customers. Lastly, I do want to mention two exciting pilot programs that we have rolling out in 2025. One of which is that through a competitive federal grant that we received and has been obligated, we are going to be rolling out a heat pump bill credit program for customers. And we have funding through that and our revenue bond, the grant and the revenue bond, to help customers get Sensibo devices that they can install on their heat pumps, let you control the heat pump right from your phone, and it lets BED send a signal to the heat pump to reduce usage a little bit during peak periods. And then Emporia View devices, which go on the electric panel and monitor real-time energy use. And we're going to be able to see how much we can help customers and help the utility as a whole reduce peak usage through the program. In exchange for participating, and all that equipment will be free for customers to participate, customers will get a $5 a month bill credit. And that's just a first step towards what we hope will eventually be a heat pump rate like we have for our EV customers as well. So the idea here is we want to drive down the operating cost of a heat pump, make it even more competitive with fossil fuel, and help reduce peak costs for all customers. So we're excited that's rolling out. And also we're excited, and the reason why we have Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund with us is every year we participate in the Delta Climb Business Accelerator Program, where we bring seed stage clean energy companies through Delta Climb and Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund right here to BED, where they do a curriculum and they work with utilities and mentors across the state, and they develop their business plans and they pitch us on pilot programs. And this past year, we selected a company called Moduli, which makes a battery that is a modular battery that can be sized at 2.5 kilowatts or 5 kilowatts or 7.5, for example, and plugs right into a regular 120 volt outlet. So there's no installation required. There's no hardwiring into the electric panel. We're going to get 10 of those batteries to be able to demo with our customers and see if we can use them to reduce peak energy demand, and also as backup if there is an event of an outage, which are thankfully fairly rare in Burlington, that they'd be able to power some key appliances like a refrigerator or some lights potentially through that. So we're excited to be demoing that project with Moduli. Just another example of a great partnership with Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund. The really exciting thing there is we can have renters participate since there's no installation required. So this is a program that will hopefully roll out not only to our homeowners and maybe some businesses, but also to renters in the community to help us test it. So thank you for bearing with me through a long list of key changes that we have for 2025. We'll be happy to take questions in a little bit, but I want to turn it over to Mayor Emma Mulvaney-Stanak for her remarks. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right. I was going to say good evening, everyone. It's been that kind of couple weeks already into 25. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here with BED today at their annual event to provide a little bit more context on the significance of this. I'm really glad that Darren went through so many of the details and the technical information. I want to highlight and emphasize again why this is quite significant for the city of Burlington to continue to push these incentives forward for our local goals, but also in the larger national context. But let me begin first with also some gratitude to our partners, Old Spokes Home, and Sarah being here with us, and the Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund. As Darren was just saying, it's great when we can do partnerships around workforce development and other initiatives, and so I appreciate Kurt for also being here and continuing to innovate in ways we can continue to expand beyond BED, of how the city of Burlington can be a partner in all of the mutual best interests of our workforce and the jobs we need to develop here in the state of Vermont. So as I said, it's important not only that BED does this annually, but in the particular context right now of what's about to happen on the national level. we continue here in the city of Burlington at Burlington Electric Department to continue offering new and continuing to update our current incentives at a time when the federal government could be stepping back from its commitment so far, providing its own key incentives to continue to move towards electrification and other climate initiatives. It's also at a time when the state's EV rebate program is depleted. So making local action is never more important than right now of making sure we can make sure that our residents have access to these critical programs. Also, in a larger context, as folks know, two of my key priorities as mayor of the city of Burlington is to continue to advance meaningful climate policy on a local level, as well as affordability for our housing. And when you look at housing, that includes your utility bills in terms of the expenses and basic needs for folks who are residents here in Burlington. And in terms of our climate response, we need to continue to innovate and push and think about literally all the different technical ways people move about in terms of transportation, how they heat here in a cold climate state. And these are the kinds of ways we continue to push in terms of climate initiatives. So I won't go through all the technical things that Darren just went through. Thank God you went through all of them technically, because I was like, oh, do I have to read all this technical information? But I want to emphasize two principles that also inform this administration are a clear commitment to equity and affordability. And so you heard him speak several times around the commitment and care to making sure we continue to expand our commitment to low-income Vermonters here in Burlington. We want to make sure our customers have access to things like e-bikes just as much as someone who has more resources. We want to make sure that folks have access to heat pumps for the cooling elements as well as the heating elements of that, whatever their income may be. We want to make sure that renters start to have access to some of these battery storage elements to make sure they can have access at times when the grid, though it's rare, goes down and people need access to power still. So to me, these efforts continue to show the commitment of affordability to equity and a mindset for which we know that our policy decisions matter in these folks' lives. And a last plug, because Darren didn't mention this, of course, our ongoing commitment to affordability through just the plain electric bill and making sure we're continuing to build and make sure that low-income folks have access and ability to pay their electric bills is already an ongoing thing here at Burlington Electric Department, and we continue to want to improve upon that for true access and affordability here in the city. Am I supposed to introduce our partners from there?
You're welcome to.
Okay, well, I'm going to just choose because she's on the top of my list. Sarah from the Old Folks Home is here to join us today, probably to talk about e-bikes, and I'm really, again, proud and excited to have them as partners. So Sarah, or do you want to talk about leaf? We haven't actually talked about the cool leaf blower situation. Sarah?
I could talk about the leaf blower, but I would be wrong in whatever I would say, I think. Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to Burlington Electric for inviting us to be here. What? Yeah. Oh, yes. My name is Sarah Camille Wilson. I am the executive director of Old Spokes Home. And Old Spokes Home is a nonprofit bike shop in Burlington, and we share those values of equity and affordability at the core of our mission that the mayor was just talking about the city of Burlington prioritizing. In the world of climate activism and action and strategy, there's a lot of focus on reducing vehicle miles traveled. But at Old Spokes Home, we really think more about how we can increase bicycle miles traveled. And the e-bike is still kind of an emerging thing, very much so in comparison to the non-e-bike, which has been around for a lot longer, but is definitely a key part of that. E-bikes can make travel by bicycle feel a lot more accessible. It can make going longer distances, carrying larger loads feel more accessible. The e-bike as family car is something that we love to see. And we're always really excited to see any sort of incentives such as this that make it easier for people to be on bikes. This kind of expanded rebate opportunity, and I was particularly really happy to see the increase for lower income customers, because that works really well in conjunction with programs like Old Spokes Home's Everybody Bikes program, which is a way in which we offer discounts on bicycle purchase and service to income qualifying customers in our community. So I really am excited to have this partnership between these two programs, the Everybody Bikes program, and then these incentives to try to really lower that barrier of entry on quality e-bikes that are really going to help folks to increase their bicycle miles traveled and have that joyful experience of getting around using an e-bike. It's a great way to increase the equity and inclusion of the world of biking and just get more people on bikes, which is what I get up every day hoping to do. That's what I got. Should I?
Well, we're hand it over
Last
to
but
Kurt.
not least.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I wasn't sure what I was. Sorry.
We'll keep it.
Good morning. I'm Kurt Ericksen, the operations manager with the Vermont Sustainable Jobs Fund. I work closely with our executive director, Ellen Kaler, who unfortunately could not be here today. She sends her regards to Mayor Mulvaney-Stanak and the entire Burlington Electric Department team. We're very excited about Burlington Electric's intention to place up to 10 residential modular units in the homes and apartments of Burlingtonians who are interested in this rapidly evolving technology. This will bring peace of mind, comfort, and safety when there are power outages due to extreme weather events to customers that may have previously lacked access to such technologies. We are so grateful to have BED as a core partner with our Delta Climb Vermont Energy and Climate Business Accelerator. Delta Climb Vermont selects up to 8 startup companies from Vermont and around the US and Canada each February from a competitive pool of applicants to participate in our intensive 4-month business boot camp, which prepares these startups to launch and expand their products and services into the marketplace and further prepares them to raise capital. Delta Climb Vermont has welcomed 8 cohorts to BED's Spark Space so far. That's 62 businesses in all. One of the defining and unique features of our Delta Climb Vermont program is that most of Vermont's utilities and a number of other energy companies and lenders provide financial sponsorship for the program and actively participate as mentors to these companies throughout the program. Some of the utilities then offer a pilot project opportunity to one or more of the companies at the completion of the program to further test their product in a real-world environment. We're really excited about the announcement today that Moduli, one of our 2024 Delta Climb Vermont cohort companies, will have the opportunity to place up to 10 of their residential battery units across the city. BED has been a real leader in the net zero movement and works hard to ensure that the renewable energy and efficiency revolution underway in the United States benefits all ratepayers. These modular units will be of particular benefit to residents that previously would not have had an opportunity to engage with such technologies. The residential battery market is exploding right now with so many different companies and so many different types of products in the marketplace. And as a homeowner or renter, it can be daunting to know what products to invest in, how reliable they are, and if they'll operate as they're described. So for BED to work with Moduli, testing their product in real time with some of their ratepayers is going to be hugely instructive and helpful in determining whether even more ratepayers could benefit from what Moduli has brought to the market. We're also very excited for Moduli to have this opportunity as a company to be involved in this kind of pilot project with a utility who has made the kinds of commitments that BED and the city of Burlington has to become net zero. It will no doubt help them make more sales in other places beyond Vermont and around the US and in Canada. And so we are very interested to hear how the units perform for homeowners, for renters, and whether BED decides to expand the incentives it offers to ratepayers to include even more modular units being deployed around the city in the future. Thank you for including us in the press conference today, and we really value the partnership that we have together. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Glad to take any questions if there are.
Great start. Sorry. How difficult is it for people to apply for these rebates? Can you kind of talk about that process? Because I feel like people make a purchase and then, they're sort of like, I have it now and don't take you up on it.
Right. So great point. And we've actually moved to have point of sale rebates at a number of area auto dealerships. We call our preferred EV network, as well as with a number of the local bike shops for the e-bike rebate. So in those cases, it's as easy as just bringing to the attention of the EV dealer or the to the bike shop, or they might bring it to the customer's attention that there's a rebate available, and then everything can be handled right there on site, and we handle all the other stuff kind of back office without the customer having to do anything further. But we also have rebate forms on our website for a number of these different products. So if you were to say, go and purchase an electric lawnmower at your hardware store, you would just put in a little bit of information to us on the web form and submit it, and then you'd be able to receive a payment relatively promptly, typically within several weeks.
Could someone summarize where all the funding comes from for all of these incentives and rebates, et cetera? Because it seems like an awfully large package.
Yeah, so for us, really, there's two main sources that support these different incentive programs, sometimes in combination. One is we are an energy efficiency utility as well as a traditional utility. And so we run the efficiency programs for Burlington that Efficiency Vermont runs for the rest of the state. So some of our rebates are supported by our energy efficiency programs. There's an energy efficiency line charge on the bill. And there's been increasing flexibility granted by the legislature to us to expand some of that work beyond just traditional electric efficiency into emissions reduction. So some of our incentives are backed by that. The other piece is what we call Tier 3 of Vermont's Renewable Energy Standard, which took effect in 2017 and basically said to all the utilities, you have to have programs that help your customers reduce fossil fuel use and emissions in sectors outside of electric generation. So things like transportation, heating, lawn care. In some cases, not in Burlington, we've seen it help maple syrup producers get off of diesel and onto the electric grid. For us, when we do something with EVs, e-bikes, e-buses, lawn care, et cetera, a portion of the rebate is coming from that Tier 3 requirement. And we fund that knowing that there is a business case for ratepayers, that there is, as we expand electrification, there is additional sales revenue that supports the utility more broadly. And so it's not just a climate initiative, it's also an economic initiative as well.
Can you tell us how you're going to notify the general public about these incentives and rebates?
Well, you're helping us do that a little bit today, but we do have updated forms on our website. We will have all of the different changes that we categorized here available in a written form on our website with our press release today. And really, it's actually a good question because it's an ongoing challenge to make sure everybody knows about our programs. We do have a lot of customer turnover in Burlington. We have usually 5,500 to 6,000 customers turnover in a given year because we have a lot of students. We have a high rental population for our residential customers. So we constantly have to work to get the word out. We have a new podcast, relatively new, I guess a few years old now. We use podcast, we use North Avenue News, we use all the different mediums, social media, et cetera, to try to get the word out. But I always find there's probably always more we can and want to do. We've had office hours at some of the different areas around the city, like King Street Laundromat or the Family Room. We go to different events over the summer, particularly like Somerville or Lake Monsters. So we do everything we can to get out there, but you know, it's a continued challenge to make sure everybody's aware of these rebates and can take advantage of them. All right. If no further questions, thanks everybody for joining us, and happy 2025.